Welcome to Backstage at Upstage, a presentation of Upstage Lung Cancer, which uses the performing arts to raise awareness and funding for lung cancer research. Here's your host, the founder and president of Upstage Lung Cancer, Hildy Grossman.
Hi, I'm Hildy Grossman, and we're so excited to have you with us today backstage at Upstage. And here's my good pal, Jordan Rich.
Well, thanks, Hildy. Today it's you and me, and we are going to get creative, I'm told.
Yes, we are going to get creative. You know, it's kind of interesting. We had some other plans in mind, and they didn't come through today. So we looked at each other and said, well, why miss an opportunity? Let's create something just for the two of us where we can explore the ideas of using your imagination. And certainly we've used imagination in all of our concerts. Upstage Lung Cancer, by the by, is a very creative organization. We're the only lung cancer organization that exclusively uses music and the performing arts. And so I'm very pleased to say we've had a lot of wonderful compliments saying that we're a very creative and outside of the box organization, and that's been great.
I've been with you for many, many years, and it never ceases to amaze me how many new variations on musical presentations you come up with. But the one you've planned for June 16th of 2022 as we record this, and the good news is it's a virtual show, so it'll be available after the fact. It's called Pure Imagination, and you're linking it together with some of the creative artists and scientists you know, and you've known both.
I've known them all.
And you know them all. So it's a great concept, because we've talked on the podcast. You've interviewed so many people who are doing innovative things to help people live.
Absolutely. So starting with some of our concerts, we always try to do something a little bit different. And so some years we have honored composers and singers who have died of lung cancer, who lost their lives, such as Rosemary Clooney and Nat King Cole, and we've featured composers like Leonard Bernstein. We've featured Talk About Imagination. We've featured Walt Disney, who lost his life to lung cancer. And so bringing those people who have made such a mark in the world of the arts on stage with all of our performers means their lives will go on. And we want to celebrate their lives. That's the focus.
You picked a great theme, and the song Pure Imagination, which people remember from Willy Wonka, written by Anthony Newley and Leslie Bricusse, I believe.
Right.
And
hopefully they'll be happy we're going to use that as our opening tune.
But the concert is kind of interesting because you've asked a bunch of really talented people to join you. I'll be there as the MC. Easy job. Easy. I don't have to sing. But you've got a lot of very creative people who have written songs for the occasion. Is that right?
There are 11 of us who have written songs for the occasion. Some are songwriters who have a huge library of their own works, such as Chrysanthi Pappas. She's been with us actually from the very first concert we did. Chrysanthi was there. She performed last year in a concert that celebrated music and musicians from around the world. And this year she's back with a great new song, which is she wrote after COVID, where we were all isolated from one another. And so once it was possible to get the vaccine and be careful and see people we love and are close to, she wrote a song called Hug a Million Times. Yeah. And as always, it was just remarkable. And clearly there are other performers who will be with us who have a large library and who are quite wonderful. Louise Alexander, for example, and then jazz musicians, David Thorne Scott and Mark Shalansky, and some other folks who generously gave of themselves to share their imaginative works for this concert. I'm really grateful.
It's always nice to see artists getting a chance to perform and do their wares, and they do such a remarkable job, these people, for you and with you. But particularly in this case, because these are songs written either for this occasion or for other occasions, and it doesn't matter. And you wrote a song, in fact, for this occasion, and I like to ply my craft as an interviewer and find out what you wrote, just the title, and how it came about.
Well, one thing I wanted to add to our 11 performers is I asked each one of them to introduce their song by saying what inspired them to write the song. And with each person, they had very different reasons for writing their song. So I had 10. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. If we're going to do this, I have to write a song. I can't just be sitting back. That's not okay. So I started to think about what would I write, and it's not all that easy. I guess, occasionally Duke Ellington once said he sat down at his mother's kitchen table and wrote a song. I'm sure sometimes it just flows out. But my experience with starting with lyrics was it takes some thinking. So I changed my ideas a bunch of times, and then I reached out to my writing partner, John Lamb. We wrote a musical theater piece called Ziegfeld, and we've been working on a mystery for 110 years. Not quite, but almost. And he and I said, let's just sit down and write these lyrics. And so I came up with the idea of open the door, don't stop, because it's so easy to get defeated and discouraged when you try something and it doesn't quite work, and you try it again, doesn't quite work. And so a lot of people just give up, not only as in the creative world, but obviously when you're not feeling well, it's easy to give up. And when things don't go your way, it's hard, it's easy to just give up. And so I just wanted to write something with John that said, just don't give up, don't think of what's not, just start it and go for it. And so we wrote the lyrics, and then I wrote the music, and then reached out for some consultations and see what people thought. And that was really great. And then last week, I recorded it with my Fallen Angels crew, Shinichi Otsu and Ken Danzig. And I'm super proud of it. And one more thing I'll say, in terms of trying to be creative, I started with what I knew, which was American Songbook, jazz, like Ella Fitzgerald's tunes, Sinatra, etc. That's what I know. I can, do it in my sleep. I thought, well, I'll just do that kind of song. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. That's not, I could come up with something different, but it's not as imaginative as I was hoping. Therefore, I went to my inspiration, which is Lin-Manuel Miranda. If you're listening, contact me. I'm just so dazzled by his genius. And so I wrote something really different than anything I would have before. So I'm excited about promoting it and having people listen.
I'm thrilled that you're doing it. In my estimation, every song has already been written. So if I sat down to try to write a song, I would be just copying everything else that I'm familiar with. I think it's amazing when people come up with new tunes and new variations. Good for you. Good
Thanks.
for you. That
Thanks.
is awesome. So, yeah, the creative spirit alive and well in so many of these musicians and so many of these artists and so many of the scientists and doctors who are working so hard for a cure.
That's absolutely true. I hope people will go to our website, upstagelungcancer.org, and look at the research page, which is the research that we've funded since we've begun, sometimes with partners. And it's really extraordinary work. Lately, I had a great experience with MIT's Koch Institute. When I first connected up with MIT's Koch Institute, Anna DeConnick, head of the whole show over there, we talked about what we do, the kind of research that's going on over there, and also upstage lung cancer. We realized that I thought they were completely dazzling in their innovative research. It was just like nothing I'd ever heard before. And they loved us because they thought, well, wait, using music and lungs and air to shine a light on lung cancer, they thought that was great. So what came of that was we actually produced a concert right there at MIT's Koch Institute that year. And from thence on, we've funded some extraordinary research. So yes, I'm just dazzled by some of the work which looks at breath and looks at saliva and urine, looking for these nanoparticles that could identify lung cancer, which is our goal, finding lung cancer early, way before you could even see it on a CT scan. So that's our goal. Our goal is to ultimately find a way to find lung cancer that's easy, accessible, inexpensive, and you could just go to just like COVID, go get a little test and then you could see.
And I can tell you, sitting here with you and doing these shows with so many of these great people, I'm talking about the researchers, we're looking into their eyes and we're seeing a level of excitement that we see on the stage when your performers are doing what they're doing and you're doing what you're doing. It's really so gratifying to know that these people have a passion for what they're involved with like no other. I've never been so impressed with what we've seen.
I totally agree with you. And I think that's the way it is. I mean, it's probably like Edison or somebody who invented the light bulb or the cotton gin or steam engines or something, where you've come up with something that didn't exist before. It just didn't exist in this way, or it wasn't used in this way. So I'm grateful for all the researchers who are, every day in a laboratory, every day thinking about something new. We have scientists on our board and on our advisory board, and they're always thinking, always, looking for something new and innovative.
As we record this, then, we want to promote the fact that this concert is virtual. It's coming up on June the 16th, the Thursday night at 7 p.m. You'll tune in, go to the website, upstagelungcancer.org. You'll tune in and be able to witness creation in its finest form with a lady herself who creates all this stuff. And that's, by the way, hard legwork creation because there's so many aspects to putting a show together, live or virtual. But what's the best way for people to help out by being audience members? How can they do that?
Well, right now, if you're listening now, it depends on what now is for you. If it's before June 16th, 2022, you can go to our website, www.upstagelungcancer.org, and go to the performance page. And right there, you can just click to get tickets, which are free, although we're really asking, because all of the research we fund takes so many dollars to make it happen, we're asking if you're able to buy a ticket, a comparable ticket for $45, that's great. And if you want to donate, you can donate. So all of that's on the website on the performance page right up to that date.
In the creative sense of time now being before the 16th.
Before the 16th. However, after, it will not be lost. It will be available, and you can still go to our Upstage Lung Cancer website and look at past performances. And then if you go there, you can click on it, and it'll be right there for you.
Now, if you're wondering how these shows do financially, and every penny that can be used goes right to the research. What are you at? $3 million plus?
That's right. We've with our partners, we've funded over $3 million
not too shabby.
Research. Not at all.
Shabby. And we're seeing every year more strides, and it does take money to fuel the machine, and that's why we're doing this.
Well, one of our guests for the concert, the Pure Imagination concert, is Upal Basu Roy, who is a scientist himself and works for the Longevity Organization. And he, repeats that during the time upstage lung cancer has existed, the research that's been done to develop new drugs during that 12, 13, 14 years, more drugs and more innovation has come during that time than all the years before. So every year there's something new. And that's one of the things we always try to emphasize. It's like my song, Open the Door, Don't Stop. There are clinical trials, there are new things that come up all the time. Sometimes efforts fail. Sometimes it's about going back to the drawing board, working together with your doctor and your medical community and finding new things. Don't stop. Don't give up. Keep going.
Well, said by the lady who is a living reminder of that. You've done it in your entire career and in your life, having taken on cancer and beaten it. And so thank you for reminding us about this, and using the podcast as a great way to celebrate creativity.
Absolutely.
Can't imagine a world that is just kind of flat and not interesting. And these people who write songs are some of the most interesting people on the planet. That's right. And they're great.
The people who write songs are the most interesting people, and the researchers are the most interesting people. And because, I don't know, there was something, a Miller's analogy. I don't know if you had to take that going to college. They're like, and they would always say, how is this like something else? So it's like, how is a kumquat like a thumbnail screw? And then you have to think, wait a minute, you have to come up with a creative answer to these things. So maybe people don't think about researchers in the same kind of thought as composers and lyricists. But again, it's all starting with staring at a blank page and trying to think, what can I do to reach my goal?
She's not only musically on target and so lyrical, but you're quite poetic today. I must give you a thumbs up, Hildy.
Well, there we are.
I will want to write some of these pithy things down and keep them by my bedside. Thank you for sharing from the heart what this is all about. And we've got great shows coming up, great shows on the platform already that people can listen to. And if there's any indication of the strength of moving forward, listen to some of the previous podcasts, folks. You will be inspired.
I totally agree. I'm so proud of the podcasts we've put together with Jordan's expertise as a broadcaster has really elevated. Many people have said what a professional podcast it is and how interesting.
Listen, I know you know how to handle yourself behind the mic. There's no issue with that. When you're on stage, you own it. So you own it now in the studio.
Well, there we go.
Dual ownership.
In any case, we've got wonderful podcasts. And for those of you who stick on some listening device and put on a podcast to take a walk or drive to work or prepare dinner, I guarantee you will be inspired by the amazing guests we have had on our shows. So they're on every podcast platform as well as on our website. You can't miss it. It's Backstage at Upstage. Download it and then leave us a review, especially if it's a good one.
Well said. Thank you, Hildy.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jordan.
To find out how you can join Upstage Lung Cancer in raising awareness and funding to beat lung cancer, visit our website, upstagelungcancer.org. We invite you to subscribe and download our podcast, available on all platforms. And we love reviews and ratings. After all, we're showbiz people. There's more entertainment and inspiration to come on the next podcast episode of Backstage at Upstage.